Hey, welcome back. Do I look any better? Well, I should, because we're filming on the A7S Mark III. The day's finally come, here it is. This is what we're looking at. It blows my mind how much better the A7S Mark III looks than the A6600. It's like a night and day difference here. And part of that reason is SLog3. With being able to film in 10-bit and 422, I now feel comfortable filming in SLog. And SLog3, if you didn't know, has the most dynamic range for this camera. The only problem with SLog3 is that our footage looks like this, and this, of course, is unusable. No one wants gray footage. We have to color correct our footage first before we can use it. And that's what we're gonna be doing today. I'm gonna show you guys a really quick way to color correct your footage in Premiere Pro. But before we get into the video, be sure to like the video if you end up liking it and subscribe for more videos on the A7S Mark III. So I'm gonna show you guys two methods on how to color correct our footage. So this is our footage as it is. This is what we're trying to get to. Let's go up to the color tab. This is automatically gonna put on lumetri color. So this very first method is going to be using just the basic correction tool. So you're probably gonna wanna bring your scopes up. Let's make sure that we have waveform on. So really quickly with the waveform, the bottom here is all of your blacks, and then the top is all of your whites. So you want your blacks to be at 0 and your whites to be at 100. With knowing the waveform a little bit, let's hop over to our basic correction, and we're gonna start off with our whites. So let's bring our whites up where they're clipping just a little bit. You don't have to have them clipping, but I am gonna have mine at about 75. And then we can bring down our blacks until it is just starting to clip. And you can see when we turn this on and off what that's doing. Now let's add in a little bit of contrast. We're very close. Now what we have to do is add in some saturation. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to our effects. We're gonna go to the opacity and we're gonna create a mask right on my forehead. Now, all that we are seeing is my forehead. Great. Let's go back to our scopes. Let's actually put on the vector scope YUV. So the vector scope is gonna help us nail our skin tone. This line right here is where your skin tone should lie. And you can see our skin tone right now is a lot more on the yellow side. So if we come over to our tint, we can push that up just a little bit. We're gonna add 5, and that brings our skin tones right on this line where we want them. We can go to the effects and just delete that mask, and now our skin tone is perfect. So now this is usable footage. So we went from this to this. So that was my original way of grading this S-Log footage, but I just found a way easier, way faster way to do this, and that is with the curves. Okay, so let's make sure that we have our waveforms over here and our curves over here. So I'm gonna give you a very brief overview of the curves adjustment. So on the bottom left here, we have our blacks. If we bring them up, this is of course bringing up the blacks. If we bring them to the right, that is bringing down the blacks. Up here at the top right corner, we have our whites or our highlights. Again, if we bring it to the left, we are lifting our highlights. If we bring it down, we are decreasing our highlights. So let's start off with those highlights and let's bring them to the left and increase them just a little bit until they are clipping ever so slightly. And then let's get our blacks here and let's decrease those until they are clipping ever so slightly. You can add points to your curves. So let's click on the center and let's bring this point back to the center. What that is doing is it is adding contrast. So boom, before, after. So now all we have to do is add in some saturation. So I'm gonna go up here to the creative tab and I'm going to add in my saturation. I'm also gonna add in some vibrance. So you can see what that saturation and vibrance does. It really helps a lot. Again, let's mask out just our forehead for our skin tone. I'm using my forehead because it's the largest surface area of skin that I can see at the moment. Change our waveform to our vector scope. And of course, we have the same problem where our skin tone is slightly more green, so we have to add in some purple. You can, of course, go into the basic correction under tint and add in that purple yet again. Or, of course, you could go into your greens and decrease the green to add in that purple. But let's get rid of that mask and see how we are looking. And that is how you color correct your SLog3 footage. Now I'm gonna make this even easier for you. You go down into the description and download my SLog3 color correction LUT. Now this LUT is just drag and drop. Depending on if you're using the Cine or non-Cine version, just find your file and boom, your footage is color corrected for the most part. You might still have to adjust your skin tones, but of course this all depends on your footage and you'll have to do that anyway. But hopefully this gives you a better understanding of how you can color correct all of your footage. But if you did end up liking the video, like the video, subscribe for more videos on the A7S Mark III, and let me know in the comments below if this was even helpful. But that's about it. All right.